Hello YouTube, Vintage Stereo Restores, Dynaco Update, Kit Installers. There's the Pat 4, and I built the new the regulated power board. It's a double side board, so you have to solder through and then touch it up on the top side. So for instance, if you put in a resistor here, some are just connections to hold it, others go to parts of the board, so you gotta make sure there's solder on both sides. Wasn't that hard. I would say about 75 minutes is what it took to do this. Very straightforward. Anyway, what I'm at now is putting it in to the Pat 4. Right here are the instructions for the connections. There's a few pictures. This is from the Update My Dynaco site. Might as well use their instructions. Show you what we have topside here. So, original transformer, original sockets. I think I'm going to just cut those out of the circuit. I actually don't have replacements that fit properly. The ones that I have are bigger, at least for the red ones, and these are a bad idea. I did a whole video on this quite a while ago. Like this one here. If you plug the blade in there and tip it down, you're grounding. And they're not, two reasons. One, they're fragile. The other is they're not polarized. So we'll leave them there, but cut them out of the circuit. And I figured out a way to do that really nicely. Here is the two diodes in the original power supply on this terminal strip. So we'll take that out, we'll clean it off, and we'll move the AC connections over to there. And then just clean those off. And then, so what we gotta do now is just take this board out, the terminal strip. And it's funny, you know, I remember I did one of these 2005 maybe, a little while ago, and it was quite a cool thing to be able to buy kits for these at the time. There's quite a lot of interest for at least 2 decades in these. And they were always designed well. I'm not trying to advertise anything here, but they are well designed. So, this replaced the can. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip them all off. Rather than trying to label and trace, it's pretty obvious like that goes to the transformer, center tap. That comes from the rectifier bridge. Don't need it anymore. And the rest of these, so these boards have had a Dynaco, Update My Dynaco kit of all new components, but they're the original Dynaco phenolic resin boards. So, somebody's changed these wires. And I think I remember how this came. It came with the bundle of wires, and you took out the original wires from the old can to the board. So that's why they're a different color than what's in the instructions. But they're very traceable. Like for instance, it'll say rear PC16, so that's PC16, eyelet 12. Well, there's 12. It's a brown wire instead of a red wire or a black wire. So, take that off. I need stronger snips. Take those off, the 2 whites, the browns, these whites. I'm sure I can reuse the stuff that's on here. Nothing like terminal strips, especially on tube radio. So that's out of there. So now we're down to the actual wiring. So where it says, for instance, first transformer wire goes to X1 on here. You've got fresh, you can clean the insulation off. You have fresh ones, fresh connections to solder and to get through the hole. Hope you can see this already. So there's where the 2 rectifiers are. Let's just get that one right out of there. We need a slot. Hardly even tight. I didn't even really need the screwdriver. Get that one out of there. Just save those two. So there it is. So we're going to need those red connections. Zip them off. And so I will clean that off and use that to hook the AC line cord to, and then put it back. So what we're going to be doing, let's see if this lines up. Bring it around, bring it down, bring it over to the camera. So this goes in, according to the picture, on the diagonal. Yeah, that looks about right. And it would be these solder lands pointing up. Okay, so we don't want it forward of there. That's too close to here, so it's going to be back there. Hopefully not too close to the transformer. That should be fine. See if I can pull up a picture of it. Well, there it is. I don't know if you can see this. It's in there. It has the toroid, the optional toroid, which wouldn't be a bad idea, but that is a shielded transformer. I would stick with the original if it works. So that's how it goes in there. So I'm not going to do the whole thing, but you can then go through the list. You can even check the voltages. You start with the two red transformer wires, which are right there. Boop boop. And the center tap one to there. And they basically go right to left here and left to right there. That goes on there and that goes on there. Alright, so I'm not going to bolt it down yet because I want to have this loose for soldering. I'm going to have to flip it over. Yeah, when it's done, maybe I'll show you on the next video doing the next section, which would be the selector control, how this one turned out. Thanks for watching and listening.